Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another neki broadcast. Today we are playing Daniel BR. Actually, we're not playing live. This is a game that I have played against Daniel BR. I don't remember much, to be honest, because it was some time ago. I just didn't have time to cast it as soon as I wanted to. So we are playing on Howling Ghost Badlands, which is an incredibly exciting map. That is no secret. I particularly like this map simply because you can attack on both sides, and it encourages aggressive play where you basically go all in on one side and then your opponent does a counter attack on the other side rather than defending. So counter attacking, it feels like it is always an option on this map. At least this is my take on it. Anyway, when I saw the Red Mage leader, I was happy and sad at the same time. I was happy because Red Mage is quite strong. I was sad because I didn't know whether I was Loyalist or Elf. So as soon as I found out that I was Elf, I was a bit sad. Now, what I try to do here is basically recruit. I try to minimize basically the amount of scouts that I recruit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Had I gotten an Elvish Archer, that would have been absolutely fantastic. I didn't get a quick Elvish Archer. Now, why would I? Therefore, I had to go for the backup plan, which is recruit 2 scouts, right, to get these 2 villages and then pillage some more. I mean, not pillage. Pillage is not actually a correct term. You're getting your, God-given villages, basically. Your God-given right to those villages. So grab villages, and this archer will go back, and then it will, have a painful journey of reaching the front line. However, it's not as painful as recruiting an Elvish fighter. So from this perspective, it's not too bad. Shouldn't be complaining too much. So there it is. This is a quick scout, which is quite nice. It's what you want, at least a quick scout. Another quick scout, not that bad. They are pretty good at scouting with scouts. So this is what. So let me do here. View each team. View full map, I guess. Anyway, so let's see here. I bet Daniel BR was incredibly happy when he saw that he is Loyalist. However, he does not have the best leader. A much better leader would have been Red Mage or White Mage or Lieutenant, right? Even Archer, I would say. Pikeman is not that strong, but Loyalist is more. I mean, Loyalist as a faction is more than making up for the fact that he has a I wouldn't call it weak leader, but a suboptimal leader. Now, he can. Now, Daniel BR is a player that doesn't really joke around. So you saw he's Loyalist, and he recruited 4 camps. Now, I wasn't sure how he recruited, but when I remember during the game when I saw his recruits, I was like, that is a lot of cabs. So he actually started with 4 cabs, which is insane. I mean, he could have waited a bit. I mean, I guess he wanted a quick cav, he didn't get it. So then he recruited another one, he didn't get it, he recruited another one, and so on and so forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 8. He should have been able to get this. 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, probably he wanted a quick one so he could get this village efficiently. So he just simply wanted cavs to be in a great position to grab these villages. For example, this village here, this village here, this village here, this village here, and scout at the city. Plus, cavs are an absolutely fantastic unit. So I can tell you now, it's going to be difficult. So there is me trying again with that archer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Of course I don't get it. I mean, now why would I? So again, I was kind of stuck with 2 archers. And the reason why I wasn't too bothered about this is because on this map, as dynamic as it is quite difficult to make a all-in rush the first night. I mean, even if he is orc, right, it's quite difficult to reach these villages in time. So plus, with archers are great to fight back versus an orc rush, right? You only need, for example, 3 fighters here, and then you have some archers in the back. There's really no need for more, right? So from this perspective, archers are not that bad. I mean, archers are a strong elvish unit, one of the strongest. So, starting with 2 archers on a map where attacks are not much of a problem, I was not too bothered about that. However, it was a bit annoying that I couldn't make use of it. So now I'm stuck basically with 2 units unable to grab this village. So my village grabbing speed suffered as a result. And of course, there was no other way for me rather than, so if you don't have a recruiting strategy for this map as player 1, as elf, this is a valid strategy. So you try once with the elvish archer here. You try twice with the elvish archer here. If you fail, not a problem. You still have the scouts, and you need 2 fighters because, fighters are the core elvish unit. So 2 fighters, 2 archers, 2 scouts. You can pretty much transition into any unit combination to counter any opponent. Plus, archers are needed here, I feel, simply because they are faster, right? And they could just go between, they can swap flanks pretty easily, whereas strong resilient fighters, of course I don't have a strong resilient fighter, why would I? But if I had strong resilient fighters, they are quite difficult to be moving around, right? So again, standard village grabbing there, and let's see what Daniel BR recruited. Okay, that's not too bad, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a very strong player, and the fact that he went this scary amount of calves, that is, okay, so look here, 2, it's actually 2 penalty on sand, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so there you go, Cav can reach the top village. Yeah, they have pretty good reach. Now, he also thought, okay, if I'm going versus orc, I will still have time to recruit, place my leader here, recruit 2 spearmen, put a spearman here, and calves are pretty good. Even if he has archers, I wouldn't be able to have that many archers to pose a threat during the first, during the first night. It just feels that this map is just the first rush is just not that strong. So pretty good recruits, pretty aggressive, favoring calves, really leveraging the power of calves. Nothing wrong with his recruits. However, I'm not sure if I saw anything or not. Probably not there. There it is. Now I'm seeing the fact that he's loyalist, and suddenly I feel even better about these 2 archers. And to be honest, archers are one of the most cost-efficient unit to deal with calves, I feel, simply because they have that superior mobility compared to orcish or loyalist archers if you play mirror, right? And they are more reliable than thunderers. They also deal way more damage than thunderers, and also they have good defense, right? So that is, and also they have the same cost. So 34 hit points elvish archer versus I can't see, but we will see in a second. It's not that bad, to be honest. I still think that, I mean, calves definitely have the edge in a fight on flat, so calves can still kill archers more faster than archers can kill calves if there is a fight on flat. However, if you have any kind of terrain, I think that archers will come on top definitely. But you'll never get full archer versus full cav. You will always have some unit diversity. Anyway, let us see here. Okay, I believe here I didn't have enough money to recruit because I had recruited 2 units before, or probably I was saving. I don't really remember. Anyway, but it's really important to see the unit distribution here. Now, this is a scary amount of calves. And this is basically a pillaging commando, right? So that was, I believe, the main idea that Daniel B.R. had, and it's a really strong idea. He said, depending on what faction I have, these three calves here, through their presence, are just going to cause a massive commotion, because they can just simply, if I focus here too much, then these three calves can really cause serious trouble. I mean, imagine this Elvish scout on 40% on a village. He can't really hold his own versus these calves. These calves are going to surround him and kill him. Therefore, I'm forced to leave an Elvish fighter here, an Elvish archer, something, some unit, not the scout, because the scout is pretty weak versus these calves. Well, if he does go on 60%, and then it becomes annoying with his bow, then yeah, that's another story. But he can't really hold the village. Oh, I kind of pressed the wrong button there. As soon as I saw this fish, this tells me that he is basically prepared for a longer game. So he's going for unit diversity, right? Calves were meant as a commando to pillage villages, and he's really not worried. The fact that he went here tells me he's not worried about this side. So, I mean, at that point, I also had to, be mindful of these calves. It feels like it's night, but they can pillage during night, and they can grab a village during night as effectively as they can during the day. Now, it would have been perhaps a bit, let's say, 11 plus 17, 28. So I would have had enough gold to recruit 2 fighters to basically increase my numbers faster, my unit numbers. However, when I saw 3 calves, I definitely need to match them with 3 archers. I would have been stupid not to do that, right? There was surely a calf there, and I'm sure I saw it. However, definitely for these 3 calves, 3 archers, and I would say even a 4th archer. But I believe it's not necessary. Again, archers are strong units, and if you see calves, which basically give you an extra reason to recruit them, go for it. You see 7 calves, recruit 7 archers. You see 4 calves, recruit 4 archers. No reason not to do that. And then, of course, you can always supplement your army numbers with fighters, simply because they are easier to recruit. For obvious reasons, they are cheaper, right? So, okay. At this point, I said, Scout goes forward. Why? Scout has to go forward. Why? Simply because I want to be able to backstab with Scout in case of these calves decide to go on a journey of pillaging, right? So if they try to be sneaky to stay outside of the range of these archers, go around here somewhere, right? Just to be sneaky and try to go for the village, try to do cute placement plays. I would have none of that. I want to see that clearly with the scout, and I also want to have the option of the scout going, for example, here, or here, or here, and then the archers just simply coming there to clean up all the cats. So I basically said, no, I don't want you to go past this scout, right? This scout will definitely survive here to all your attacks, and if it barely dies, remember it's on 60%, then I'll have leader plus 2 archers plus another archer just coming in to mop up all your units. So no reason not to be aggressive here on this flank, especially since it's night. I mean, what does he think he's doing? I mean, surely he wanted to impress me, and don't let yourself impress, right? Imagine you are playing, instead of me, you have 3 archers, you have an absolutely fantastic leader, even the Elvish scout, if he's on 60%, he can hold his own versus cavalrymen, simply because he can be incredibly annoying with his bow. You have nothing to worry about. What is he doing, pushing his calves forward? So this is how this should be played on that side. Now on the other side, I am trying to basically go for a bit of a more aggressive position, right? Push the fighter forward. Knight is coming. I don't have the numbers to sustain an attack on this side, so it's more of a deterrent. So cav shouldn't be coming all the way here to get too much information and too much of an aggressive position, because then I would simply surround him and kill him, right? It's more of a deterrent than anything else. Now he has an interesting idea here. So he wants to put the fish on this particular tile simply because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Simply because even better, he's quick. So it's giving him a nice let's say a nice reach towards this village. Also, it's a nice 60% tile in the middle of nowhere, more or less, apparently. I mean, nobody expects on this flat area to get a 60%, so you still get the traditional terrain with high defense. So it gives him maneuverability in defense and offense, both. Plus, it's just a strong unit. I mean, look at the amount of hit points, right? 39. It deals a bit less damage than a spearman, yes, but you would never keep a fish off 60%. Plus, look at the reach. There's so much potential for 60%, and it's a bit, it's not a traditional placement. Always recruit a fish. Anyway, he's going for the fencer, which is interesting. I see many players doing that as well, and I myself like to do it. Why? Because you can get yourself in an attacking position. You attack, you clean up some units, but then the counter attack, especially versus these cavs, can be devastating, especially if I have archers. So what you do after the cavs surround and kill a unit, you put the fences forward, hoping that the fences can basically dodge some of the attacks, and they are a bit more let's say a bit sturdier than thieves, for example. Plus they have skirmish. They are such strong. I believe that fencers from all units with high defense are one of the best. Of course, to be honest, I prefer them to assassins. It's just such a cost-efficient unit. Assassin is 17 gold, fencers are 16 gold. But fencers get skirmish ability, and you might argue, oh, neki, you get Saurian skirmishers for 15. Yeah, you do get Saurian skirmishes for 15, but you don't get this amount of hit points. To be honest, quick intelligence 27, Saurian, I don't know from the top of my head, but definitely has lower than that. Plus, you get 60% on flat. Sure, they don't have ranged attack, but that's not what you use them for. Anyway, it's just he's basically trying to achieve a lot with very few units. So basically he's saying, with this fencer, if there's going to be a skirmish here, 3 units versus 3 units, I am showing signs of wanting to do an attack on this side. So if there is a massive attack on this side, and then there's a skirmish here, the fencer can just run away and get a village and be on 70% on a village. A skirmisher with 70% on a village, that is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Saurian skirmisher on a village has 50%. I mean, this is an incredibly strong unit, fencer. So, from this perspective, having a skirmish here is not towards my advantage. Plus, when you have low amounts of units fighting a fencer, if the fencer gets a few lucky dodges, suddenly you find yourself with your units holding their hands, dealing absolutely nothing, having no impact into the fight. High defense in these skirmishes, small skirmishes, is incredibly effective. So from this perspective, I'm kind of saying to myself, look, this side, it's just good to be conservative, play conservatively. Plus, this cavalryman was left behind due to the impeding due to this scout threatening to take that village, right? Can actually Okay, it can even reach the village. But this particular fencer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that would be able to support, even if it's from water. It would be able to support a bit. Plus the fighter, merman fighter, would be able to support as well. Anyway, let's see what he did next. Again, cute positioning plays here, but it's not that that important, I feel. Okay, there is the cute positioning plays here. He still wants to do that run by. Still wants to have that option. And yeah, finally, the cavalryman went back on the village. Okay, now this is a very good defense here. I would never go for this village with the scout. No way. I would basically give all his units something to do at night, which would be absolutely stupid. But what I'm doing here is basically I am deciding to go for the skirmish against my better judgment. Call it an impulse movement, call it whatever you like, but I felt, I don't know why, that me being the one who strikes first, that would give me an advantage. Plus, remember, I had the potential to recruit 2 fighters last turn, which I didn't. So I suddenly had the potential of, now I had 29 gold, had the potential of reinforcing this flank with 2 fighters, while sending my leader away to support with the merman fighter. So I'm striking first. I have the potential to zock, zone of control, the merman fighter, bring my leader here to threaten this merman fighter, and my leader can also deal with defense. So from this perspective, I said, build reinforcements here, recruit reinforcements here, 2 fighters, quite strong, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 units versus whatever he has here. Plus send my leader top to have a fight during nighttime. So this is what I was thinking. However, if I remember correctly, okay, I'm missing here everything, which is painful. I just wanted to see at least 1 hit. I mean, okay, at least I get 1 hit with the elvish fighter, which is not good enough, I feel. I'm placing my units. I mean, this elvish fighter should have come as close as possible. I wasn't too bothered about good terrain. Now, don't remember here how. Okay, I'm even taking this archer here, so I'm really making a statement. However, as you see, that was a mistake. That was an inaccuracy. This archer has 6 movement speed, so he could have been here. I mean, if the archer had been here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he could have reached the merman fighter, and the leader could have been able to have good positioning. So my leader here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he would have been able to reach the merman fighter no matter where he ran. So that was a bit of an inaccuracy. I'm bringing a second elvish archer. Okay. And I'm recruiting 2 elvish fighters, bringing the leader as well. Leader can also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can also recruit on that cape if he wants to. And I am not fully retreating here. Probably the better movement here would have been to put the scout on this 60% castle, and I would have been absolutely fine. However, what I wanted to do, I wanted to I wanted to do too much at once. So I wanted to basically zone of control of this merman fighter here and basically force him to make a decision. Does he send more forces in to help the merman fighter? Does he pull the merman fighter back? And at the same time, I wanted to basically use this elvish scout here as a bait. I mean, it's 50%, could go either way. He could miss or he could hit. Plus, I would have had here an archer and dexterous elvish fighter and another elvish fighter, and these archers can reinforce pretty quickly. I mean, they do have 6 movement speed. Plus, the leader can always go back and recruit more archers here. So this was intended as a bait. I said, okay, if he's going to attack here during nighttime, that would be absolutely brilliant because I would be fighting close to my castle at night. That is perfect. Here is still away from his, I mean, it's arguably it's away from this castle, but it's close to this castle. So here is a bit tricky, right? So I said, okay, a small bait here, and again put more stress here. Let's see what he does. So this was intended, I mean, I thought I could be able, if he goes for this LV Scout, I thought this LV Scout should survive with 50%, and or if he did die, he should have at least dealt some retaliation damage, and then I would have killed a unit, and then I would have brought my units back, and then the fight would have extended through the day. He would have been forced to retreat during the day, and then I would have been able to press my attack during the night, or at least this was my initial thought. Okay, so he went for this LV Scout, which is on 60%, just like the Merman. He went forward with the Fencer to threaten all these villages, right? So Fencer threatening the villages, also zone of controlling this fighter in order to prevent me from focusing down a unit. So this fighter can attack these. This LV Scout can only attack these. So I can't really merge. I can't really converge with all my units on a single target. It's quite difficult to do so. From this perspective, good placement here. I mean, I thought I was the one surrounding him. I mean, this is basically it can be, it's just a textbook play. So, for example, red, surrounding blue, and then suddenly you get blue, surrounding red, and blue, surrounding red. So quite nice placement, I have to agree. And I have to admit, and then he comes here to reinforce with heavy infantrymen. Probably was hoping for fearless. So great in close combat, these heavy infantrymen. So he's basically saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I am able to reinforce because my leader is here. Whereas if you decide to fight with your leader, you will need ages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before you could actually recruit. So, and now he decides to go 4 units versus 4 units here. Go for the what was supposed to be a bait, and he is hitting pretty well, I would say. I mean, 2 out of 3 versus 50% all the time. I mean, 2 out of 4 as well. It's, you could say he would have gotten the kill anyway. Yeah, he would, but he should have used the 4th unit as well, to be honest. There was no reason for them to hit that this many times. Plus, if you think about it, this particular Scout did not deal enough damage, right? So it dealt not really sure here. What am I looking at? I'm looking at his statistics. So it's basically it dealt minus 71%. And he dealt plus 46%. So he was massively lucky with this. So suddenly what was supposed to be a bait, it turned out to be a difficult situation. Plus this particular cavalryman, instead of finishing off the Scout like it was meant to be statistically, this cavalryman can now suddenly pillage. And that is absolutely huge. So that is absolutely huge. So instead of using 4 units on my Scout, and my Scout dealing retaliation damage and softening these units up, he killed my Scout very efficiently with almost no retaliation damage, and now this unit can be used for pillaging. So suddenly my whole plan is absolutely blown to smithereens at this point. I am 1 unit, of course, provided it is a Scout, but I am 1 unit down. This has actually become the commando. This has become the main army. My leader is basically far away from any keep. I mean, he could obviously go back, but if he goes back, I will have 2 units dying here, plus 1 unit. It's just 3 units for probably I would be able to get 1, more or less. So it's I'm basically at this point, I feel that I need to take some risks. And this is all props to Daniel BR, who's an incredibly aggressive player. And, props to him for making this incredibly spectacular. So gloves are off. I need to take risks, and risks I am going to take. So obviously I'm going for the pillager, but because I'm going for the pillager, I have to expose my elvish archer. Of course, I don't hit enough, which is, again, making things incredibly difficult on this side. So I am sort of controlling, but I need more damage, right? This is not enough damage. It's a strong resilient cavalryman as well. And now my elvish archer is exposed. Remember, my scout died on 50% so easily. Elvish archer should die even easier, but again, elvish scout was a bit unlucky. So this situation here is not looking bright. Really not looking bright. Now I have two options here. Return back, reinforce, bring back the elvish archers, and try to put this elvish fighter on 60% and continue with this elvish scout on 60% to see what I can do. Put this elvish fighter here, try to deal some damage on the fencer. But with my luck, with the luck I've had so far, definitely this fencer would have survived. Definitely this fencer would have gotten 70%. So I said, no. At least here my units will die, but the villages will be safe for a while. Right? Not for too long, but for a while it would be safe. So I decided to go all in with my leader forward on the fencer. It is an incredibly annoying unit. I particularly hate it with passion, and I got 3 out of 4, which is exactly what I needed. And I hopefully got a hit with the archer, and it's a resilient, intelligent archer. And now it's looking a bit better, to be honest. So 1 loss, 1 kill. Leader forward. However, I might need to retreat my leader to recruit because I'm basically, I need to spend my resources, right? Okay, luckily for me, the elvish scout hits quite well, and I decide to put more pressure on this cavalryman with my elvish archer. Make the I actually get the kill. So finally, some justice here. I'm able to. I am able to reverse some of these unlucky stats. So those were 2 units. That was I wasn't hoping for that. Now, in hindsight, I should have protected this elvish archer. I should have placed my elvish fighter on this 50%, I guess. Make it a bit difficult for him to go around, but I decided to move on this mountain instead. Why? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I decided to be more aggressive in terms of village grabbing rather than be defensive towards my units with experience. So I decided to prioritize villages or potential villages over experience, right? So, softening up this cavalryman, trying to discourage him from going further with his incursion behind my enemy lines. And I believe this fighter, I wanted to get him closer to the fight, be able to involve him in the attack towards the main units rather than waste time with this fish. Suddenly this fish has become, for me, unimportant. So my elvish fighter needs to block access to this village, but actually it needs a more central position to be able to get involved with the cavalryman. And I'm just poking around here. I don't expect to do any wonders with this elvish fighter. Okay, the fish went right in the middle of my army. So when I saw this move, I knew that Daniel BR meant business. I knew he's not coming back. I knew he's just going to continue the fight. And ladies and gentlemen, you are going to enjoy this. It's going to be a bloody battle non-stop. He's hitting quite well on this archer, and he's missing 2 out of 2, and that is absolutely fantastic. I felt a bit redeemed here. So plus 2%, minus 7%, 7%. So I'm still the unlucky one, theoretically, mathematically, but at this point I stopped looking at the stats because I thought, okay, no point in looking at the stats anymore. The fact that I was incredibly unlucky here balanced itself out with this elvish archer being unscathed. So I basically stopped looking at these stats. He's recruiting another heavy infantryman. So this tells me here that I should stop fighting in this meat grinder soon enough. I don't have the necessary units to deal with these heavy infantrymen. I need wowzers. I can't be fighting with archers and elvish fighters. He is obviously going for the archer because the archer is the one dealing a lot of damage to those cavalrymen, and he can use the other cavalrymen to pillage. And again, this is a losing fight. So the fact that I lost units so quickly in the beginning without dealing too much damage, and then the archer didn't deal its damage, this means that this skirmish here will always go in his favor, right? He had 4 units and I had 4. He started, I had 3 units and his units were more or less unscathed. Then I had 3 units and then he still had 4. Now I have 2. I mean, I can kill one, but I will always be 1 or 2 units behind, which is there's no point to further explain this. It is absolutely terrible. So 2-2 losses kills still balances. I mean, the situation is still balanced because of the fact that I was able to use my leader here to get some unit kills, but this is going to absolutely hurt me, and I knew it was going to hurt me, but there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. All I could do here is damage control. Try to survive as much as possible with these elvish fighters. Try to delay the massive pillaging that could be going on here. So I was more focused on this side, again 70% with this lucky archer, and I was going to poke a bit around, and I got a village in return. However, remember, he pillaged 2 villages, I only pillaged 1, so he's again getting more income. So you can feel the pressure around my neck choking me slowly but surely. I mean, I don't know if you can feel it, but I was feeling it in the game, and I'm feeling it now by watching the replay. So he had this skirmish here going in his favor. 1 unit extra, again 1 village extra, so everything he does is just a bit better, and I just don't have the resources to fight back. Now I desperately need to kill this cavalryman, so I'm going with a melee attack there. So I was a bit also frustrated at the fact that I couldn't get my hits here. Luckily I got the hit on the cav, so at least now it's 2 versus 3. But look, this particular spearman can go on 50%. This particular fencer can go on 70%. So these elvish fighters can be subjected to an incredible amount of damage from high defense terrain. So I'm still losing here badly. Now, leader had absolutely, especially considering this pillager here, leader had to go back. And you see this archer placement is really important. I'm not going too crazy in defense, because if you see this cavalryman to go around the archer and pillage some more would have to go through a hill and through mushrooms, so he would be basically, he won't be able to get far. Also, I'm not so there's no point in me going here. I'm going here and then I'm preventing basically the cav from going through the village, which is only 2 penalty. So I'm forcing the cav to go through the forest, which is 3 penalty. So he can't really run away from this archer anymore. So from this perspective, retreating is actually the better idea, simply because my leader had to recruit. Plus, I'm getting a cavalryman out of it for sure. The cav has nowhere to go, so retreating was definitely the only option, I feel. Now, this particular scout, and that's the beauty of elvish scouts, because the merman fighter was so brave in trying to kill this archer, was able to break the deadlock and basically try to help on this side. So now on this side, arguably, there is a 3 versus 3. However, as I explained, my positioning is currently terrible and he's the one to hit first. So that was, let's say, elvish scout is, at least mathematically, theoretically, kind of a saving grace on this flank, because it can quickly switch flanks and could at least help a bit here. Now, this elvish archer, I mean, there's no point in me continuing and going 60%. It would be just me feeding units into the meat grinders. So I simply went back, and I believe it was my intention here to further help with a 4th unit, simply because I knew these units are going to die relatively quickly. And of course, this was the only way to recruit 2 units, probably an Elvish Shaman, but an Elvish Shaman at this point, not the brightest idea. Okay, now he has this 70% Elvish Archer to deal with, and he deals with it pretty well. So again, as I said, I had some luck, he had some luck, so I stopped looking at this point. So these heavy infantrymen, they can't really, for example, this cannot get the village, so they can't really get far from this perspective. I am still safe. I mean, it's dawn, but he does not have the quick unit to mount an unstoppable attack. So he would need at least a spearman in this village to make any serious attack. These guys just can't even reach the village. Fish on this village would be too bad. Plus, remember, he needs to worry about this this fighter, so he's going there. However, because he has heavy infantrymen, he won't reach this village that fast. So that's again a plus point. So from this perspective, I mean, it was nobody's fault, right? So if there was a fight brewing here, and Daniel BR recruited heavy infantrymen, which was the logical thing to do. So because they are so strong, if they can actually reach the fight and keep pouncing at enemy units, they are incredibly strong. Now, me on the other side, seeing the heavy infantrymen, seeing that this is a kill zone for Daniel BR, retreated, right? It got a bit of a unit here. I didn't kill it completely, but at least I put some damage into it and made sure it cannot really run far. I also used the chance to help these units here, break the deadlock, help these units here. I basically ran away from these heavy infantrymen. Now, the plus that I got from this situation is that these heavy infantrymen are so slow that they can't really reach my pillager. So from this perspective, that was a bonus, an unexpected bonus of my strategy. Now, he is basically fighting these fighters head on. He didn't even go for the mushrooms. He focused actually on the fighter with the highest amount of experience. And he also wanted to put more experience into his fencer, which is a smart thing to do. So he focused on experience management, and he also got a 2nd village. Problem with this is that I can now hit him with 3 units. 1, 2, 3. So that was, I feel, an oversight. I mean, if you would have simply used this cavalryman to attack this Elvish fighter, it would have been a bit better, I feel, simply because my Elvish fighter would have had to run back, then with an injured Elvish fighter and 2 other units, plus the threat of the fencer to kill one of my units and level up, I would have never, ever disputed this village. But now I have 3 healthy units and a target here, so I'm definitely going for that target. And remember, as dire the situation is for me on this flank, I can reinforce relatively okay, but he can't really reinforce that quickly. He would have to move his leader to the other keep, and then the distance to these villages is quite great. So again, I have 2 villages. I have 3 villages, 3 villages back. Okay, I have 1 village extra from his domain, but still, it's a dire situation. And of course, what does he recruit? More calves. Why? Because calves can help here, calves can put pressure here. I feel that at this point, he should have just switched to spearmen. Mass spearmen, recruiting even 2 at a time. So imagine now, so he has 22 plus 3, 25. Had he recruited a spearman, he would have had 22 plus 7. That would have been 29. So we would have been able to recruit 2 more spearmen next turn. So instead of recruiting 2 units in 2 turns, he would have been able to recruit 3 units in 2 turns. And spearmen are just meat, right? It's difficult to kill. They are quite meaty. They have a lot of hit points, and they deal a lot of damage. And they are, I would say, better than cavalrymen if you can get them into the fight. And he could have gotten spearmen quite well into the fight here. However, he might have wanted to basically take back his village here, which is a fair point. There's another catch with spearmen. They are incredibly weak versus wowsers, so he was probably scared. If I go with 3 spearmen, he would just recruit 2 wowsers and that's it. However, cavalrymen can still deal some damage to those wowsers. So a lot of mind games going on there. He is retreating, and I'm not going to let this happen. As you can see, I'm trying to abuse the movement speed of my archers to go just really far as possible to the edge of the map, so that I can form some sort of line here, rather than going with the archer here, exposing myself to his heavy infantrymen from all directions. Now, I am also trying to go with this one first in order to put the experience into the other archer, and as far as I remember, I was luckily successful, and there you go. I also have an Elvish archer close to leveling up, similar to his fencer, and I'm closing the line with the Elvish fighter. I'm basically allowing him only one tile here with on my archer. I don't want this archer to die. Sure, go ahead, attack my units with whatever you want, but you only get 1 tile on this archer. Kill whatever you want. This archer is surviving and hopefully leveling up. So I'm really starved for resources, so I have to recruit a fighter. But look, he recruit. Okay, again, this is more important. The target that I was talking about, and luckily I hit it pretty well. I mean, 2 out of 2. I was so happy when I saw that. I felt saved. This was a really important kill. Okay, I got some damage here. It was a really important kill, because now it's 3 versus 2. And suddenly I have a fighting chance. Again, I still have an injured unit, which is, I mean, it's quick, so it can basically get this village and help out with the other village. But I have a fighting chance to gain my villages back. So it would be suddenly. So I had 5 kills, 4 losses. I also had a decent experience here. I was 2 villages behind, yes, but I had hope that I didn't have initially. So this is when I was a glimmer of hope, and I was able to regain this village, So the game was stable. He was still ahead in terms of income and experience. And now that is basically the plus of I would say fighters compared to cavalrymen. Cavalrymen are great, but as you saw, this cavalryman here had no chance on a 40% village. However, fighters on 60%, they do have a fighting chance, and as I say that, he gets hit like a champ, and he gets hit even more. So, and of course the merman there to put even more damage, and the horseman, that is an absolutely flashy recruit. So this is a flashy recruit here. I didn't expect that. So he was actually saving for a horseman. He did not want a lot of meaty units on the battlefield. He wanted a cav and a horseman. Now the horseman can clear this village pretty well. If he gets 1 hit out of 2, basically this elvish fighter is dead. So horseman is one way of clearing this village. Horseman also basically tells my units, be very careful how you place your units, because 1 misplacement will result in a kill. However, horsemen are a bit unstable. I personally, well, if I am ahead, I personally like them. If the game is even, I don't. I simply don't, because they are too unstable, as I said. Now, I'm seeing the horseman, and I'm basically placing my units on 60%, right? And my archers on 70%. Again, most precious archer in the middle, making sure he would have to go through all my 60%, 70%, 60% units before he would reach the elvish archer. Now, here is really important how I play. Now, I don't understand why he took his fencer back. He could have perhaps placed his fencer in a bit of a more advanced position to threaten a bit this village as well. Fencer would have been on 70%. Probably he wanted to protect this fencer, make sure this fencer was going to level up. But the way that this fencer is placed here, it deals absolutely nothing. I mean, it achieves absolutely nothing. The fencer could have perhaps threatened this village, or basically be on this forest to try to prevent my units from getting to the spearman, which is a wounded spearman. He probably trusted this spearman to survive for a very long time. However, it's a very injured spearman. It only has 26. Also, it's afternoon, so it doesn't have a lot of damage potential left into it. It will be night soon, so I could, at least poke a bit with my bows. Remains to be seen. Again, I'm going for the cav because I have the highest damage potential for the cav. Plus, the cav is a unit that will keep attacking me until it will fear for its own life. Right, so I'm trying to make the cav fear for its own life. This cav infantryman has a lot of armor. He will never fear for its own life. So, yeah, always go for the cav. I'm recruiting also a shaman. Why? Because it has 70% defense, and this is a high damage unit. If you slow it, then it cannot really do anything. You can even kill it with fighters. So. Plus, I just felt inspired to recruit a shaman. And also, shamans are absolutely fantastic in dealing with heavy infantrymen. So, they have high chance of slowing the heavy infantryman, and a slowed heavy infantryman deals absolutely no damage. As you can see, I'm poking here with the scout, taking a little bit of a risk. However, it's not that much of a risk simply because this fencer cannot follow up due to its positioning. So I can keep being bold. So basically, I managed there to cancel out the healing from the village. That was not something to underestimate. So again, he went there for the kill on the scout. He would have needed 3 out of 3. However, he got retaliation damage, so now he's in a terrible position. He has 13 hit points. So I would have personally not attacked the scout. I would have basically stayed there and tried to survive as long as possible. Suddenly he needs to help. He realizes he needs to help with the fencer. Also because scout is now dying, so he smells blood. There is a chance for him to basically level up this fencer. So simply because the fencer is here and the scout is wounded, my scout needs to go back. So I guess it's not too bad for him. I mean, it made sense for the spearman to attack because the fencer can now be in a position to get the kill. Now he misses here 2 out of 2 with the heavy infantryman, and he is going to go with the other heavy infantryman, and he is going to miss 2 out of 2. So I would say plus 5%, 3%. I would say even overall, but this turn he definitely inflicted less. So I was lucky this turn. He was quite unlucky with this fighter there. He's going even with the cav. He's only hitting once out of 3. So suddenly now he is in a terrible position because I can kill this cavalryman, and he is at least hitting a lot with the merman. So overall, I guess minus 43%, still a lot of damage. I mean, he's still a lot of damage. Which he could have dealt and he didn't. So, and now I am in a position to kill this cav. So, yeah, this particular Elvish fighter is basically luring all these units away from the fight, dealing a lot of retaliation damage, and surviving for a longer time. This is basically what kept me in the game. Remember, I was still behind in villages for a very long time. Plus, his spearman looks in much better shape than my heavy infantryman. Plus, I have less units here to help. Plus, he has a helper. So this is a really, really, really on edge situation. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't agree with this, to be honest. This particular horseman, considering how low these units are, this horseman should have been here, helping or deterring my units from advancing. Now, what happens on this right flank? You get a lot of injured units from his side. Yeah, sure, I was lucky, yeah, but the reality is that he has a lot of injured units now, and I have a lot of healthy units, and night is coming. He shouldn't be pushing his units away. I mean, here, if I just park this elvish fighter on this village and this elvish fighter on the other village, I'm still losing a village, and that's it. I'm losing some units, of course, but it's just not worth it. It would have been perhaps worth it if the horseman could have threatened in one, so if the horseman would have already been in range of this scout, but now it's just not worth it, right? So it remains to be seen what happens here. I don't remember exactly. He finally decides to recruit spearmen, and I should probably start recruiting wowsers. Problem is I'm starved for income and I can't really be recruiting wowsers. Now, I needed 2 out of 3 there. I didn't get it, but I guess that's justice simply because I was very lucky with this elvish fighter anyway. So this doesn't change the fact that his units are incredibly wounded. Therefore, I am in a great position to put pressure there. As you can see, I'm trying to keep my archer tucked away, right? Make him safe. And again, 70%, 60%, 60%. The only vulnerable unit here is the dexterous strong fighter, which in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have placed it here. I mean, look, he can be hit from 50%. He can be hit with heavy infantrymen, which are highly resistant to blade. But I guess I wanted to put a lot of psychological pressure here, and I was banking on the fact that perhaps my elvish fighter will dodge for a bit more. However, I remember last time I was lucky. There's no way I'm surviving this one. I mean, this particular elvish fighter can kill me in one. I mean, this particular heavy infantryman can kill my elvish fighter in one blow. So, I feel a bit now in hindsight. I don't remember what happened, but again, I feel a bit fearful for my elvish fighter. Now, obviously, I have to protect the elvish scout. This is like a chess game here. I have to protect the elvish scout, right? This is like 3 versus 2. It's really, really important what happens here. So I'm basically getting my elvish scout outside the range of this fencer. My elvish scout is still in a central position to be able to perhaps threaten these villages later on, or perhaps help from both this side or this side. So it's a perfect placement here. Plus, I'm making this step with this elvish fighter. This is a bit risky, but I felt that I couldn't just let this spearman heal, right? I needed to take some risks. I needed to be able to kill this spearman, chip away at him slowly, keep him at least injured until night gets here. So I said, I'm going to use my bow. And I did. However, I got some retaliation damage. I dealt some good damage though. So again, the spearman is dropping slowly but surely. However, now I'm in a difficult position where he could choose to kill my elvish fighter. 27 hit points. I mean, I don't know. It's a risk. If he does get 3 out of 3 with the spearman, he could kill me, but he's also in danger himself. Plus, this fencer can't really attack from 70%. I mean, this spearman should go on 20% or 40% to attack my fighter in order for this fencer to get. So it's not that bad of a placement here. So again, I can't really be killed unless he gets really lucky, and he can't really attack me from strong positions, except if he puts his fencer on 70%, but then this spearman dies. Probably he should have done that. He should have just placed his fencer on 70% and kept this village for a very, very long time. Now, I don't remember here what I did. I recruited another archer simply because I wanted to be able to attack. Night was coming, and wows was not an option simply because, as you remember, I was at an economical disadvantage for a very long time. Also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was hoping to kind of help this Elvish fighter, but my placement was off. I should have put this Elvish fighter a bit back so the red mage could back him up no matter what. As it stands, for example, these heavy infantrymen could attack from here, and then my red mage would be absolutely useless. So really, really interesting what happens here. He is going for the pillaging move with the fencer. I wonder why he didn't do this from the beginning. And will he? Okay, he had the first shot here with the heavy infantryman, which is great for him, probably well deserved after all those misses. He, however, doesn't go with the heavy infantryman forward. He instead decides to form a very nice line here. Look, heavy infantryman on the village, merman fighter, and the other heavy infantryman flanking him. My red mage can't really get to them, so this is basically an unreachable target. So this village is gone. However, there is this intriguing spearman here, which I could perhaps reach with my Elvish archer. Okay, he finally realizes that my Elvish archer could go here on 60% and he wants to block it. And that was a very good move with the merman fighter. So it is forming basically a line here. And sure, merman fighter is vulnerable, but he's on 60%. So who's going to risk that? Will I put my Elvish fighter on 20%? Will I put my other Elvish archer on 20%? I don't know. I'm just not feeling it at this point. So very good defense there, scrambling for defense, but getting his units in a good position. Again, spearmen, more spearmen as he sees. I can't really afford wowzers. And now I am basically going for the kill on the spearman. He killed my Elvish fighter. I was basically forced, if I was going to stay in this game, to basically regain this village. And I went with, at night, with melee attacks. And I even went with melee again, simply because I wanted to maximize my chance of getting the village back, which I did with my scout. And suddenly I'm the one having 3 units here. He only has 1. Yes, my units are injured. However, he can't reinforce. I could perhaps reinforce with an archer. And if you look at the kills losses, it's still even 6-5. However, it's really, really important that I won this small skirmish here. That could have ended the game really quickly had I not reinforced with that Elvish fighter and the Elvish scout. Those were, I want to say, that was not a move that won the game. That was a move that saved the game. Daniel BR could have won this incredibly fast if I didn't reinforce there. That was a desperation move from my side that barely kept me into the game. So danger averted here, but it could have been worse. So remember to reinforce at the right time, because if he would have started getting all these 4 villages, the game would have absolutely spiraled out of control. So after all that bloody fighting, now we are even in villages. I have 1 more kill, I guess, but I have 1 more kill, but it's not that terrible because he has had more villages for longer, right? So the game is still even. However, because it's night, it's first watch, I see no reason why I shouldn't attack. And I actually go for it. I'm attacking this spearman, and I believe there was a comment here, why didn't I slow down the pikemen? Well, that's a very good question. Probably a mistake. I don't know why I slowed down the spearmen. I guess I didn't realize that. I mean, I didn't think that the pikemen will go into battle. I would think that the pikemen would think twice before going into battle. So I just wanted to make sure that the units that do go into battle are slowed down. And okay, I'm going here on 30%. I really, really want to get some damage onto this horseman, make him think twice before attacking. So I'm dealing, I would say, a fair amount of damage. However, I'm basically sacrificing this elvish archer. Okay, quite, I mean, 22 hit points horseman. That shouldn't be dealing much. However, I've just given him a target. So in hindsight, that was perhaps not the best idea. I probably should have tried to kill this merman fighter and try to level up my archer. But yeah, I thought that I would get more hits on this horseman with it being on 40% rather than attacking 60%. Plus, I wanted to be away from these heavy infantrymen. Remember, they are slow. I can fight wherever they are not, and that would be an absolutely incredible idea. Also here, it's a bit of misjudgment from my side. I could have attacked with the red mage first, and then attacked with the elvish archer. Instead, I went with the elvish archer first. I got some hits in, and then I decided to basically, you know what, I haven't done enough this game. Now I'm going in with the red mage, and I actually get the kill with the red mage. So it's a waste. You know what, slow him and not the leader. The correct way to play this would have been, I was scared to attack, to be honest. I wasn't entirely sure. So I kind of was doing an attack, seeing, oh, how many hits? Oh, that was pretty good. Let's do this again. How many hits? Yes. But once I got these hits, this was a terrible mistake from my side. I should have known to put my leader forward and basically deal my damage here on this spearman. See how much damage I would have dealt with the leader. Then come with this archer. And then if this spearman would have died, then I would have leveled up my poacher. Only then come with the shaman and basically slow the pikeman. And this would have been a much better way to deal things. This would have probably ended the game right here, right now, for me. But with this, Daniel BR gets to fight another day. I'm not really sure how I place my fighter here. Again, I'm trying to close basically his access here. I'm trying to close his access to my unit here. I'm trying to say, heavy infantrymen, don't come here. Attack this unit on 50%. However, no matter how I place this elvish fighter, this elvish archer is basically food. And okay, he's actually attacking this 50% elvish fighter. As you can see, I'm dealing quite a lot of damage in return. And heavy infantrymen, why not? And you see, even if I put a lot of damage into this horseman can still kill the archer. So it was not the best target, to be honest. Horsemen are killing themselves. I shouldn't, I shouldn't be going out of my way to put some more damage in. That was arguably a poor decision from my side. Now, this particular fencer is scary, but not that scary, simply because I do have an Elvish Scout, which is capable of counter-pillaging, right? So at this point, I'm saying I'm going to go for this heavy infantryman, and I'm going to finally level up my archer, simply because this heavy infantryman is on 30%, and you can see it has high resistance, but not that high. I mean, versus a dexterous archer, it takes 4 damage. That is an insane amount of damage, and they don't have that many hit points if you think about it. And this is not dexterous, unfortunately. So I'm going to try there to get 3 hits, which I did, and I got a ranger. Why? Because I knew there was going to be a lot of fighting here. So I wouldn't have had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, he has 7 units going towards 8. And I have 6 units and not able to recruit. I'm basically stuck with this amount of units. So that's why I'm going to have this Elvish Ranger on 40%, and I need him to deal retaliation damage on both melee and deal a lot of damage with his bow. So that's basically it. Now, oh, what did I do here? That can't be it. I actually went for that spearman. That was a mistake. However, I was attacking from 60%. So in my defense, I didn't expect the spearman to basically deal so much retaliation damage. Plus this 60% here, it's kind of closing down. It's protecting, if you think about it, the Elvish Ranger. So that was a lot of damage to take. Not really sure here. So I'm still, in statistics, I'm still behind, right? So when I've taken plus 150% damage, so I've taken too much with this Elvish Fighter. However, I'm taking also a lot of damage versus this Elvish Fighter. I'm able to kill the Spearman, which is a plus, right? And I realized that seeing these units, I realized these units are going to die. He is going to be able to recruit more and more units. So I have to go back and try to spend all this gold, right? So this perspective, as you can see, I'm being quite efficient with my Raid Mage. I already got 2 kills. So if you think at the amount of kills, I was able to get so many kills because of my Red Mage, right? So that was something that shouldn't be underestimated, the power of the Red Mage. So that's why I'm still in the game, because of this Red Mage. But now I do have to go back to recruit, which means that my attack will soon run out of steam. Now, it's really interesting to see how I dealt with this situation. Okay, I'm obviously going for the heavy infantryman now simply because there is a higher chance of slowing down the heavy infantryman than it is to slow down the leader. The heavy infantryman is fearless though, and he would still be able to deal damage. And here, I choose something different, something unexpected. I'm basically using my scout to support more or less my attack. You see this cavalryman here, if he gets himself in trouble, my Elvish scout with his bow can be a bit annoying and a bit dangerous. So I'm using the Elvish scout aggressively, just as he is using his fencer aggressively. And I'm basically keeping a fighter here in order for the fighter to grab the village that the fencer leaves open. However, I still have less villages than he does. Oh, okay. Okay, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically, I'm using the other Elvish fighter aggressively, even if he is wounded. Why? Because getting, as you saw, getting villages with Elvish fighters is absolutely painful for your opponent. Now, more heavy infantrymen, which would be absolutely a pain to deal with. But remember, now I'm banking a lot of gold, so hopefully I should be able to recruit Wowzers. Okay, dealing quite a lot of damage there to that heavy infantryman. However, my units are dying left and right. That was painful. That could have survived. That was 60%. I feel that that could have survived now thinking about it. But yeah, it's nothing you can do about it. And he decides with the horseman to retreat. That's the damage that is kicking in, basically. I discouraged him from attacking my Elvish Ranger. However, he is attacking my Elvish Ranger with his heavy infantryman. And yeah, now I have a couple of options. I still have 2 kills ahead. But this is a problem. This is a problem because this can steal my keep. And this can basically prevent my leader from recruiting. Plus, this particular Elvish fighter, even if he comes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he still can't reach the keep. So I'm basically forced to use him to grab this particular village there. And I see this problem with the keep. And I decide to lure his units away from my castle to basically give time to the Red Mage to deal with this fencer. I'm trying to, again, kill as many units as possible. I kind of wanted to kill this heavy infantryman. If I had gotten one more hit, I could have then used my Elvish archer on this particular forest to kill this cavalryman, I'm sure, and then I would have been in a much better position. However, I didn't get my hits, and I was kind of forced to use my archer here. Again, I'm being very inefficient killing these units. At least my Elvish shaman can slow down his units. But now look at this Elvish archer, fully exposed. Sure, I killed 3 units more, but now all these units are going to die. And I am desperate for recruits. 42 gold, 13 coming. I'm absolutely desperate for recruits. And again, I'm trying to minimize the losses in terms of resources, and I am basically regaining my villages, and I am making a statement that from now on I will be the one with extra income. And that is, I believe, a strong move. Now, he can go for this Elvish fighter, but it's quite risky. I mean, if he does miss 2 out of 2, then the game is over. If he does kill my Elvish fighter, the game is not over because he doesn't really have a solution to get this village back quickly. Plus, if my Elvish fighter gets one hit in before it dies, then this horseman is in trouble again because my Elvish scout could follow up. So it's not that bad for me. However, hitting 2 out of 2 there, that was pretty painful, and the horseman again being a pain, as it always is, killing that archer, and then at least now, you see this particular Elvish ranger is a deterrent in terms of doing melee attacks. So this cavalryman is scared to attack the Elvish ranger. So yeah, it's not going to happen. Now this Elvish shaman is going to survive at least for a bit longer. And more horsemen, he's basically trying at this point with these horsemen. So with this, look at his units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have nothing. I have this level 2 here and this shaman which is about to die. Sure, I have these units, but I can only use them for pillaging, right? So there's really not much else I could do. Plus, he has the fencer to help himself out. So the fencer steals my keep, and this is basically another game-defining move. When I moved with my red mage here, I could have basically leveled up my Elvish ranger earlier. I could have slowed his leader, and I could have probably been more efficient in killing his units. That was a game-defining move, and I made a mistake. Now, this is another game-defining move, and he's not making a mistake. He's actually taking a calculated risk. He's basically saying you're going to need 2 turns to kill my fencer, and this is basically going to give time for my quick horseman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He can't really reach. At least this horseman is going to give time for this horseman and this cav to come and kill your leader, or aid me to kill your leader. So, or at least come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Well, at least, give time for my units to come and absolutely destroy you. So from this perspective, I am in a terrible situation. As you can see, I'm trying now with the Elvish archer, instead of getting a sure kill on this cavalryman, I'm trying to discourage this horseman. I'm trying to put a lot of damage into this horseman to discourage him from attacking my leader, right? So I put quite a decent amount of damage, and now I'm slowing probably the wrong unit, to be honest, because this heavy infantryman can still kill me. With that 7 attack, probably I should have slowed down. I don't even know. Probably I should have. I mean, 70%, slow something down. That is a last move before dying, so it doesn't really matter. Then I'm trying to basically, these units can't really help. My leader is helpless. So I'm trying to help with the Elvish Scout. I mean, the Elvish Scout has a great reach. And for example, next turn, if this fencer is low on HP, perhaps the Elvish Scout could finish him off, and then the red mage could grab the keep. So that was my intention. Plus, this particular Elvish fighter could also help here. So the Elvish fighter is, if he moves forward, he could also help to clear the keep, so the red mage could recruit. However, here, that was absolutely insanely lucky. I killed the fencer in 1 hit, and that was basically a breath of fresh air, because now, no matter what he plays, how he plays it, he can't really prevent me from recruiting. So I am 3 kills ahead, but this will level up pretty soon here. However, I do have a lot of villages ahead of him, and one of these villages is being held by a quick fighter, which can keep going, by the way. So this is not that bad, to be honest, for me. Okay, this is also surviving a bit more. Not really sure here what will happen. Of course, horseman hits 2 out of 2. It's an absolutely volatile game, very spectacular. I wish I would have casted this live. It would have been incredibly interesting, but now that I'm casting it after it happened, I can more easily identify mistakes that I did, and Daniel BR also did, I guess. Seeing all these horsemen, I'm actually recruiting 2 archers, and only then a wows, simply because I do want to know what's going on. I do want to know what's coming at me. So I want to use these archers. First of all, they are a deadly force versus calves. So he has a lot of calves. Deadly force against, they are pretty good against heavy infantrymen as well. They have high defense. Plus, wowsers definitely can come and support them if they are being attacked. However, I do want to have some vision, know exactly what's coming at me. I can't just recruit 3 wowsers. It would have been a bit too silly. Maybe I could have recruited 2 wowsers and only 1 archer. That would have been a choice. Okay. Not too bad. 4 villages now, as you can see. And Daniel BR is really struggling for gold. He's trying to get some of these villages back. And he's trying to heal his army. However, I am able, as you can see, I'm already able to put some pressure here because I recruited the archers first. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If he attacks, if he decides to go for this archer, I have the walls to back him up. So now I can go for the wowsers, and of course more meat. The more meat you can get on the battlefield, the better. I went for the 3 units rather than waiting for more wowsers. And this elvish fighter in the very back of the map is basically luring all his forces here, while my main army is basically trampling all over his keep. At least that was the plan. And again, no reason to take chances here. I'm again trying to bait from 50%. Not really sure he would go for it. He doesn't go for it. And he's doing a good job at grabbing all these villages back. However, I still have 1 village ahead of him. Plus, his units are quite wounded. And I'm grabbing the keep there. More wows is coming. And I believe I should just play side turn here. Now, I'm trying to fake here that I will be going for this keep. But actually what I'm interested in is in going for the other keep, right? Either way, both moves are quite strong. So going here and recruiting wowsers and basically pushing on both this side and this side at the same time, it's quite strong. Going with the leader here and grabbing this keep and recruiting right in front of his army is also quite strong. So both are very strong movements, very strong choices. And he is basically, well, fencers are the only units that he can afford right now. So as you can see, I'm making absolutely sure that this keep is mine and nobody else's, right? I'm basically making sure that the fencer can't even get inside this castle. And now 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. There's nothing that, well, perhaps the fencer could go on 50% here, but well, 50% would be suicidal if you ask me. 50% is just not that much for a fencer. So plus I have a lot of gold simply because I do have my elvish fighter there to keep that income advantage. Plus I'm not playing with archers and fighters anymore. I have wowsers, and wowsers are a force to be reckoned with. Now, Now he's mustering up a defense, which is pretty good. He managed to heal most of his units, right? Most of his units are healed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has 8 units. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units. But I'm also able to recruit wowzers right in his face, which is terrible. As you can see, I see these horsemen, and all I care is for my leader to survive long enough to fill the map with wowzers. So basically 60% wowzers forward, making a wall, and there should be another wows here. Yeah, there is another wows and a mage. Why the mage, you might ask? Well, I already have 4 wowzers. That should be strong enough. But these wowzers could miss versus this fencer, so I want at least 1 unit versus this fencer, which has incredible defense, right? Plus, the mage can also deal damage to the heavy infantryman. Also notice the placement of this wows here. It can go up or it can go down. It can basically surround this village, right? So it is a wall, but it's also a semi-aggressive move. Also, this archer on 20%, it can also reach around that. This one can also reach around that. I'm trying to put pressure on this village here, and I'm trying to hit it during the day with everything I have. Yeah, attacking loyalists during the day, but look at how many wowzers I have. I can finally basically not care about the time of day. Now, this particular fighter is hopefully being pesky as usual. Yes, it is. So when I saw how pesky this fighter is, I knew the game was over. He's recruiting a mage, but that's not going to do anything at this point. I feel that, well, I don't know. It's really difficult to deal with all these wowzers. I feel that another fencer would have been a bit better. Try to get a leader kill. Or try to hope that the wowzers miss so much. Okay, he's not changing much there. He's trying to form a line here with the fencer forward, which I don't blame. However, I'm pushing this wows forward to make his defense even more difficult. However, here there is an issue. I am ahead. I have 1 extra village. Look at my units, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Probably I even missed. No, it's 9 on this flank. 10, 11, and being able to reinforce. In a normal game, the best move would have been to use the leader here on this fencer, then follow up with this mage here, and then finish off with an archer, right? My only problem is I do this, and let's say my leader decides to miss 3 out of 4. Suddenly my leader is exposed to a leader kill, simply because he does have a horseman. The horseman might get 2 out of 2. And the fencer might be able to go around, and then his mage might even decide to commit suicide on my red mage, and all sorts of headaches like that. So from this perspective, I did not want to risk. I felt that I have enough of an advantage to win without using my leader into the fight. My leader should be only a recruiter at this point. So very, very rarely I would use my leader. I would continue to use my leader to deliver the killing blow, just to make sure that I get that kill and that I'm able to quickly reinforce my leader, cover him, rather than open up the fight with my leader's attack. So again, I'm basically doing some attacks here. Okay, my horses had a lot of misses. The mage hit as expected because he's magic. He has magical attacks. But my wowzers did 0 out of 6 attacks and got a lot of damage in return. So I felt a bit hopeless, to be honest. But again, I continue to move my wowzers forward. As long as they are forward, they protect my leader. and they regen, right? And they absorb damage. So if he wants to go for the Wowzers, sure. And again, 0 out of 4 with this. I mean, let's look at this attack. So this attack was, again, theoretically I'm still behind in terms of luck, but it was minus 58%. So this attack, I felt that, wow, he could actually make a comeback here. So again, trying to basically use every single one of my units to deal damage. Try to slowly chip away at his defense, even with the Elvish Fighter here. Try again to make sure he doesn't run around, he doesn't reach my leader no matter what he does. And of course, I think okay, that should be enough of a deterrent on this horseman, and I believe I recruited another archer. Again, my leader is a recruiter at this point. He does not to fight. Sure, if all these units push forward, let's say around this, and they fail to kill this spearman, but they are all muscling forward, and then my leader comes at the very end, at the slot in the back, killing this spearman, yes, maybe then I will use it. Otherwise, I will not go on this fence and miss, then have my leader exposed. Of course, bringing the Elvish Fighter as well, why not? And I believe even grab another village. Why not? And this should have been enough, I believe. Okay, his mage also missed. And he's going for the mage, which is perfect use of that horseman. Another mage for all those Wowzers, and he's being quite efficient now. He's going to go ahead in kills. And this is definitely painful for me. However, I believe that also due to the fact that my Elvish fighters were absolutely fantastic in pillaging and defending, I believe I have done too much. And now, obviously, this 40% mage is a target. Even this particular scout can go for the mage. Of course not. At least this Wows gets the kill. And again, mages kill Wowzers, but therefore Wowzers should prioritize killing mages. It's as easy as that. Elvish Fighter, best target to deal with a mage. Didn't get the kill there. But at least I got a lot of hits with the archer, and there it is. That horseman, and again, horseman was the unit I feared the most, simply because, I mean, this one not so much because it can die pretty easily, but the other one, that was scary to be honest, and it could have killed my leader. And again, now he has absolutely no answer for these Wowzers, and there is another Wows coming. Okay, GG. Well, that was an intense game, ladies and gentlemen. It was back and forth, in my opinion. The game could have gone either way at any moment. And to be honest, Daniel BR was the favorite to win for most of it. So once he started the skirmish here, and he killed one of my units, and the skirmish became 4 versus 3. And then he very nicely engaged me on this fight. And I was basically forced to throw my main army here, while his commando here kept chipping away at my commando of units. Then, he really had it. The saving grace was the fact that I was able to free up my scout here and one of the Elvish fighters. And my leader was able to kill enough units, defend, free up these, as I said, the scout and the Elvish fighter to help and salvage the situation here. It was never in my favor, the situation here, but I kind of managed to salvage it. Then this particular Elvish fighter here managed to lure all his units away for a very, very long time, which basically turned out to be just enough to allow me to rebuild and then again kill more units with my leader, and slowly basically gain enough of an advantage to convert this advantage in extra villages and a strong Wow's army that was able to basically win me the game. So a fantastic game, fantastic opponent, as you saw. Daniel BR playing really aggressively, taking risks paying off, and resulting in really, really interesting plays and strategic, tactical situations and strategic decisions. I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, liked it, and I shall see you next time.